What is up, YouTube fam? Robbie C here. Guess what? We have crossed a huge milestone here on the channel. I want to thank each and every one of you. 50,000 subscribers. That is crazy, y'all. We're going to talk about an awesome giveaway we're doing as a thank you to each and every one of you for getting us to this point. And y'all, I don't know if I want to call it like greed, but expectation, I guess. Let's talk about the next 50,000 and what you guys can expect for that. But before we dive in, gotta ask the most important question of the day. Zachary, how are you doing today? Are you having a good one? So catch me if I fall. When I think back to starting this channel, I remember buying a tripod and pulling out my phone. It didn't even have 3 little cameras on the back. It had 2 cameras on the back side of it back then. And y'all, talking to an iPhone, I remember buying a microphone that I thought would work with this phone and plugged it in and was like, wow, I think the audio sounds so much better. Not even realizing that I didn't have the right adapter on the microphone, so it actually was still just using the microphone for the iPhone, and I just like tricked my brain into thinking we'd done something cool. I remember going to canva.com to start making thumbnails and being like, oh, how am I gonna do this? And I didn't wanna pay for the premium option because I was like, yeah, I just don't know like if I'm ever gonna do this. I remember being on a phone call with Jesse in January of 2021. He asked me, hey, do you ever think you're gonna do this full time? And I was like, nah, man, like it's disc golf, that's crazy. And then a couple weeks later, Jesse had been the real one planting the seed inside of my head because I lost my job with the publishing company I had been working with. And my wife and I sat down and prayed and were like, you know what if I went for it? So I got on unemployment and used that time to wake up the following Monday morning and say, what would I do if I were a YouTuber full time? Little over 1,000 subscribers at the time, and here we are with 50,000 on the other side. I'm no longer talking to an iPhone sitting on top of a tripod. I'm talking to like a real camera. We have Silas, a real human being who is editing these videos. I'm part of Foundation and have the opportunity to say, hey, let's do a custom run of these discs, and there are other people that are gonna fulfill it. It felt so lonely and isolating being a YouTuber as an extremely extroverted person, and yet it was so amazing to be able to have the opportunity to read the comments and see the comments of y'all making this dream a reality when really it was just a couple people. I remember Disc Golf Nerd had like 10,000 subscribers, and there was like, whoa, I can't imagine 10,000 people ever subscribing to the Robbie C channel. And y'all made it happen. Y'all made it possible, and I just cannot express my gratitude enough to each and every one of you. So with that being said, we want to do a giveaway to celebrate something special here, but before we dive into the giveaway, those details are coming at the end of the video because, you know, gotta be a classic YouTuber there. If we gave you the giveaway right now, you wouldn't get to hear the dreams and hopes of where we want to take it for the next 50,000. So let's talk about that. When Robbie C started, we initially were doing 1 video a week on Thursdays at 11 o'clock Central Time, and we've kind of tried to stick to that pattern. I bet if we were to go back and look, I have probably missed 7 or 8 Thursdays of an upload, and that's because, like we talked about earlier, with a one-man show, if life came up and life was in the way, I tried my best to still just be present in my current situation. And when I signed with Foundation, we actually had the opportunity to go to 2 videos a week because Sci Guy is the best and does an incredible job editing the videos and getting everything out there for you guys. And with that introduction, we've actually been able to do a couple more projects that I think have been super cool, including On the Ground, where we talk through and go to tournament footage of local and even non-local amateur players, showing you what it looks like in a real tournament experience, not just looking at the pros. We've done the Birdie Talk series where we're interviewing people and trying to do, the inspiration was really like Hot Ones as a disc golf version, so that we're interviewing while we're on the course and trying to find those questions that are really kind of digging deep to get you to know personalities in disc golf a little bit better. So what are we looking to do in the future? What are we looking for the next 50K? Because I once again have always hoped that the Robbie C channel was a place for beginners to come and learn and improve one stroke at a time. And that eventually you guys are gonna be so good, you're gonna be like, hey, Mr. YouTube man, I'm too good for you now. You're too cheesy and whatever, I'm moving on, I'm past you. And that's okay, because there's amazing channels out there like Overthrow for you guys to go learn from and do those kind of techniques that you can dive into. And yet I hope that maybe you'll come back and we'll hang out, have a laugh or two, and maybe you'll pick up a mental tip that you can use to start saving strokes while you're out there on the course. But also our hope has always been that when you have a new beginner that you introduce into the game, perhaps you would trust me to be part of their disc golf journey as well and say, hey, if you want to see where I learned when I was a beginner, head over to Robbie C. He seems to be an okay guy that you can check out. So part of our new audience is that we hope as the sport continues to grow, that Robbie C will be here to be a useful tool for each of them to learn from as well, and that if there's a video that you loved in the past, you can recommend it as well. But a couple of new projects that we're looking at going into the next 50K is that we actually do want to try to do some tournament coverage of perhaps even pro players, but approaching the commentary from a different standpoint, rather than just saying, hey, look, they threw this shot, this person threw this shot, wow, this person's awesome, wow, this was really terrible. I want to try to continue to do educational commentary so that when you get done with watching even pro players play, that it's not so much a, can you believe that Calvin Heinberg just threw that disc that far? I ain't ever gonna be able to throw an eagle that far. But more so decision making and talking through, why did Calvin throw a mid-range on this hole, or maybe why did Calvin throw a driver on this hole versus throwing a putter like something else, or however that may be. Talking through the decisions so that you can take the decisions that they're making and possibly apply it to your game. So I know we already have one opportunity lined up in the fall for tournament coverage that I'm really looking forward to, and hopefully with the right people end up signing up for this event, we could end up with some really cool folks coming on the channel. Another series that we did in the past that I really think we might want to try to bring back is the pro tips for beginners. Having the opportunity to connect with pros, ask them, hey, if you were a beginner, or you could go back and give yourself one tip when you were a beginner, what would it be? I'm gonna be honest, when we were a smaller channel really trying to do that, it was really tough to approach these pros with opportunities to be like, hey, I have 1,000 subscribers, would you be willing to help me out? Because they have a very busy schedule, and I get that. I don't want to bother them. I've never wanted to be a plague to anyone. Because y'all have allowed this channel to become what it is, it's a little easier to have those conversations and say and kind of lead in with like, we have the opportunity to connect you with beginners, to maybe even create more fans for you, and it gives us a great chance to get to know them. We can bring hopefully pros on for birdie talks, and we can also possibly bring pros on for the pro tips of being with beginners. And then a third aspect that I've really wanted to get into that I think I've just been hesitant with in the past because I haven't really thought about a way to do it that will allow me to stand out from anyone else, is that I would love to do disc reviews for beginners as a part of, hey, if you're trying to find a mold that works for you, which something we've done really well and seen it succeed here on the channel is building a bag for beginners. But if there is specific discs that come out, seeing new discs that come out, what I would recommend so that if you find yourself as a beginner and you're like, hey, I want to try this, how would this fly for me blank? And I can focus it more on beginners because once again, I always want to try to connect that audience rather than you saying, hey, this is where I am right now, or hey, Robbie throws 380, 400 feet. Hopefully when we start locking these form changes down, that number gonna be changing. But you can see whether I'm bringing someone else on to try the channel. I would say the inspiration and the people that I've seen do it the best are dynamic discs. When you had Bobby Brown, you had Anthony, you had EMAC throwing the disc, I would love to take that concept and kind of evolve it a little bit. With all of that being said, these are three different directions that I want to take the channel, but really, where do you want to see the Robbie C channel grow, and where are areas that you're like, wow, I just don't know why Robbie has never dove into this, because it would make so much sense for Robbie to do this. Guys, I'm gonna be real with you. If I haven't done it on the channel, it's probably because honestly, I haven't thought about it at this point, and I would love to get your insight into how I can help you even more so, because that's kind of the whole deal here. But that's where we want to go. But we couldn't go where we are going without going where we've already been. I don't know, that got way too deep philosophical for me for a second, but This brings us to the 50,000 people that have said, wow, that crazy bald Mr. YouTube man, I seem to like his content enough to hit that subscribe button, and I want to say thank you guys so much. So we are doing a giveaway with a true collector's item. Guys, there are some people that got the first ever run of owl pigs that we did when we dropped with OTB, and some of y'all held on to them because you were like, this is the first ever run with a Robbie C stamp on it. And for y'all to view that futuristic, that there could be like a collector's item for me, is a little crazy. I gotta be honest. Like, I remember the first time someone approached me with one of those discs and asked me to sign it, and they were like, it's been hanging on my wall ever since. So humbling that you would view one of these, like, these little plastic circles in a way to treat it that special. So we wanted to take that vibe for 50K and celebrate with a special run. Hunter Ant Foundation has hooked us up, and we are going to take this incredible stamp and we are going to be running it for 50 discs. There are only going to be 50 of them ever made in circulation in the world, and we're going to make sure that you guys get it as the 50K subscribers. So here's how we're gonna do it. When you try to do giveaways in the YouTube comments, I wanna be 100% honest with you guys. It is super tricky, and you end up with a lot of people who try to like snipe it, and you get your channel hacked and all that jazz. So we're gonna do it via a Google form. Guy is gonna put the magical link right here, and you guys can head over to this link, and there's going to ask you a couple of questions. One's going to be your name, one's going to be an email address that we can reach you to say, hey, you won, it's coming your way. And then it's also going to ask you for an address. If you don't feel comfortable putting your address in that form, you can wait and save it for your email, because that way I'll be able to reach out to you. But just know that it's going to be an easier and shorter process if you go ahead and give us the address there. And then fourth, we're going to ask you if you want to be part of a Robbie C mailing list or email list, because you know what? We've never built one of those before. And if you don't want to be a part of that, that's fine. But if we have future products coming out with Robbie C or future developments coming out, this also gives you an easy and quick way to say, hey, yeah, feel free to grab that. We're not going to spam you, anything like that. Just letting you know when new and cool things come out with what we're trying to do. So this link is going to open up. Today is July 4th, which is actually my birthday. And then we are going to keep it open until July 11th. On July 11th, we're going to close it. We're going to choose our 50 winners, and then I'm going to sign all of these discs while I'm up at Foundation as they help fulfill it. And we have these 50 discs to give away. I cannot thank you guys enough. And so truly, I think it's going to be sick if one of you gets these like 1 in 50 discs and you're out there throwing it and you're like, hey, I played around with Robbie C and then I got a birdie on his face because I threw his disc. But also, totally get it if you want to hold on to it. Truly cannot say thank you enough. And so I think it's like a cool moment to be a disc golf YouTube channel that has actually hit that 50K subscriber mark, and to be able to commemorate it this way with such a special run. And we also are gonna have some print on demand merch of this stamp as well. If you guys are like, wow, that's sick, and I didn't get one of the 50, or you're like, hey, I had the opportunity and I really love it and I want to support any way I can. Just another opportunity, because I know even as we talked about some of the flippy merch, maybe a little pricey for some of you. So we just want to have a way for you to celebrate this milestone with us. I just appreciate the support that you guys give by watching these videos week after week. That is enough in itself. You hitting the subscribe button, hitting the like, hitting the bell, all of that is just going above and beyond what I ever thought possible. So thank you guys for making this dream a reality. So with all of that being said, once again, you can find the link in this description for you guys to check out for that Google form. I cannot say thank you enough. It's just crazy, y'all. It is so crazy to be here to have this opportunity. So thank you for being the best audience out there in the world. Y'all are goated. In the meantime, I want to say thank you as always, and for watching. I know I had an amazing week, and I hope you have an amazing week as well, and that you can make it fantastic for someone else too. In the meantime, no, that's not even it. Robbie, you've been doing this for like 200 something videos and you just screwed up your own outro. All right, let's do it for real. But for now, we're gonna leave you with the birdie. See you guys in the next 50K.